So this LEGO Star Wars set has a long name. It's the 327th Star Corps Clone Troopers Battle Pack. It comes with 258 pieces, but of course that's skewed because it's mostly minifigures here that you're paying for. And it cost me $45 US. It's 40 euros, 35 pounds UK, or $50 Canadian. Of course, I'll take a closer look at the minifigures in a minute, but first the builds. Honestly, I think the AT-RT looks great in this color scheme, even though it's way oversized, compared to what it should be. Yeah, these need to be shrunk down if at all possible, but it's very difficult to shrink the design down in a way that is going to still be durable, that's still going to stand up and also be easy to build to a durable standard, easy to assemble to a durable standard, because these have to be for absolute mass market. These cannot be fragile. They cannot have any tricky building techniques. And as a result, we just end up with something that's still oversized, but it does look good. It's got two clips on the back to hold on to minifig accessories. It does rely upon stickers for right there. It has only one print, that also sticker right there. One print that's just for the console. It's just a common piece. You can move these forward and backwards a little bit. And there is one other pose that you can put this in. Is it this way? Yeah, take the bottom one. There we go. Take this joint, back one, take this joint, forward one. And technically, that's no longer in the symmetrical standing still pose because look, it's angled to one side just a little bit. One foot's technically in front of the other just a little bit. And this is a pretty stable pose. So, there's something there. There's one other pose you can get it into that will look a little bit better than this. But for the most part, you're either going to have something that's going to fall over very easily, or you're going to have something that is kind of in between. You get in between the two clicks of one of these joints, and then again, it's just not the most stable pose to put it into. So, yeah, for the most part, you're just going to have it either there or just completely static, and that's unfortunate. It's oversized like this, but still basically is a statue. Let me know what you think about having the ratcheted hinge joint for the nose cannon here. It's always going to be aligned left to right, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having a Mixel style ball joint back there, just so that you can move this around and have it at more different angles. I feel like the additional restriction of movement here is not a good thing necessarily, but let me know how you feel about that, because I think it's completely a subjective thing. There's been a lot of noise made about the update to the Spider Droid design here, and thankfully the noise is positive. This has been very well received. I think that the design was leaked just so long ago that in my brain, I kind of processed that this existed sooner than it actually did on the market. But nope, August 1st, 2025 is when this became actually available. And it is absolutely a superior design to what they used to use. It does have this cheater piece on the bottom that you can remove if you don't want to see that. And it gives you a little bit more range of motion. You can kind of bring it down to the ground just a little bit. But the nice thing about having this clear piece here is that at any point when you're messing around with this, you're posing it, because you do have a good deal of posability here with the multiple joints, double joints on the inside, and then the joint here and there, those all having no ratcheting to them, so they can go absolutely anywhere. At any point, you can just put this on the ground and it stays. The legs don't even have to be on the ground. It stays. So you can make this look like it's in a moving pose easily. And if you want the legs to be on the ground, just put them onto the ground, all the feet. So that's really convenient. The cannon is able to angle up quite a bit. It's able to angle down, of course. Does not actually shoot, so you're a little bit asymmetric with this thing not being able to shoot, but this thing being able to, actually physically shoot. I'm kind of torn on that, because I definitely, as a kid, I would like to be able to shoot the Spider Droid, but I kind of would like the Spider Droid to be able to shoot back at the same time. However, this just looks so much better than having one of these, forced onto the end there. I think I don't mind it, and I think it's easy enough to just go pew, pew with this and pretend and like, okay, that's a shot that registered, and there's one that missed, whatnot. I don't know. This just ends up looking so good. I think it's fine. Can it be improved further? Probably, but it's definitely just significantly better than we've gotten before. So I'm happy with it. Worst thing about this is that you're not able to adjust the angle of the antenna on the top, I think. That's the worst that I can say about it. Otherwise, it's nice. And in spite of the fact that you have all of these points of articulation on the legs, still it doesn't fall apart too easily. Obviously, you can be rough with this and knock things off, but ultimately repairing is just snapping it back together. And I just think that in general, this is a good design for play and for display. There's also this little gun emplacement. This is intended to be used by the Republic units, but strictly speaking, if you really wanted to make your spider droid shoot, you could just take this off, stick this onto the back. It would help to use a hollow stud as well. You can do that if you want to. I don't personally recommend it, but yeah, otherwise this is, it doesn't really do much, especially since it can't even change its elevation. The B2 droids are just what they are. There are 3 of them and they're identical and they exist. But it is good to get more of these in a, should I say, relatively inexpensive set, something where they can be somewhat masked. We'll get back to the price of the set, of course. But yeah, I think these are a fine inclusion. Weird to get only B2s and a spider droid. And no regular B1s, but I don't mind it. And finally, the Star Corps troopers themselves, Phase 2, 3/27ths, have the pauldrons that are good and they're easy to move out of the way if you need to have a little bit more range of motion for your arms to move about. Each of these has a different loadout. There are 4 of these in the set in total. I had one of them in the AT-RT over here, but it just has the standard medium length blaster included as well, but otherwise the same printings and everything. I think that the print for the torso is good. Right down to the legs, I think is pretty good. The lack of print on the side of the legs is unfortunate. The worst thing about these as far as accuracy is concerned is the thing that strangely Lego Star Wars fans seem to complain about the least. And it's the thing that to me is the most obviously wrong, including on older figures that people like so much. And that's the arms. The arms are all one color, just consistently. All of the clones that have any color in their scheme should have better designs for their arms. This should not have just all the solid yellow. But if Lego is going to keep the number of paint applications and the number of modifications to the base design to this level, where there aren't any more prints or recolors or dual molds or anything like that are available, I think that this is acceptable. I think that they look fine as toys, but we do have to keep in mind that is technically an inaccuracy, every bit as much as the lack of printing on the side of the legs is, or lack of dual molding there. I personally would prefer to just see some printing on the side of the legs there if we're gonna get the luxury of something better there. But yeah, the arms are way off, and just so few people ever complain about that. They complain about every other little thing on these super deformed, never accurate figures. They will never be accurate because a human isn't shaped like that. And also they never have the full level of detail underneath there. All of them have the exact same headpiece, but yeah, arms far off, and the legs are definitely lacking there. But as toys, the print that is here, going like from head to toe, I think the prints are good. It's just the sides that are lacking. Here are the leftover pieces, including a couple of extra shots for the blasters that can shoot, and that's what the sticker sheet looks like. Good thing here is this reminds me that while I was building this live on Twitch, I was told that I should complain about the binoculars being inaccurate. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. They're just binoculars. Is it completely inconceivable that there would be binoculars something close to that style in existence in the Star Wars universe at this time, while phase clones existed? No. And I do appreciate the extra rangefinders included. You see, I want to reserve most of my complaint credits for the price, obviously. It's, again, $45 US, 40 euros, 35 pounds UK, or $50 Canadian. And I want to say over here, I'm looking at, I'll give it, this is a stretch for me, I'll give it $4 per figure, which I really shouldn't. That's being very generous. But I'll give it $4 per figure here. All right, there's $16 right there. We'll call this I'll say 15 and then give this 10. So we'll call it 25. Yeah, we'll call it 25 for the stuff over here on the left. These do not count as full figures because they have no prints on them. They're just basic pieces that just get popped out of the molds. You even have to assemble them yourselves. Let's do $10 over here. I think I can do $10 over here and call this 35. Let me take it all the way to, let me take it all the way to 40. Just because it's Lego, it's Star Wars, and it's 2025. That's the absolute farthest I can possibly stretch. And I feel really uncomfortable going that far. Really uncomfortable. I'd like to stop at 35, honestly, for this. A lot of people are going to say, but it used to be $10 for a battle pack. Yeah, that was many, many years ago, and it was for far less stuff than this. So I'm trying to be reasonable here because I like it when other people are reasonable, so I feel like I should be reasonable myself. But yeah, $35 is really where I would like this to be. 40 is the farthest I can possibly push it in my mind. So, at 45, it's a little bit overpriced compared to the farthest that I can possibly stretch my brain with it. But realistically, if you could find this for $10 off, it would feel much, much more comfortable. I honestly don't think that it's as outrageously overpriced as some of the other things in the line right now. I really don't. For the amount of stuff that's here. And most of the stuff that's here is indeed good. But is it overpriced? Yes. Could the figures have more detail at the very least for the price that we are paying, this highly inflated price that we are paying? Definitely. No doubt about that. But yeah, it's just a matter of how much people are willing to pay for these. That's always what it comes down to. Are people going to pay it? If so, then the company is going to charge that much. However much people are willing to pay, they're going to charge just a little bit more, and they'll stretch more. And then if people go ahead and meet them at that, capitulate and buy at full price, then the company has won. That's just how basic business works. And so we don't have that much of a right to complain if we continue to buy these things at these very, very high prices. Again, at least this product is good. It's just the whole thing I think is good. It's just the price that is the big major issue here. And so we have the power as consumers to decide, is this okay or is it not? We can complain on the internet a little bit, but if we ultimately end up buying a bunch of these things, then it will just continue. The cycle will continue. Those are my thoughts overall. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was of some value to you as a video. Whether you agree or disagree with my conclusions, I hope that I've at least brought you some value, in exchange for the time that you've given me. Bye for now.